Okay, got it. Okay, my name is Nellie Mateau, and I'm a resident of Nederland, Colorado. I want to start by saying that I think staff has put together thoughtful framework here, organizing priorities into distinct categories, being transparent, etc. The 9-point step two and analysis framework is strong, um, and that is exactly the kind of analysis the board needs before committing to a 26 to 2020 plan. The public should see that framework applied thoroughly and honestly to everything on this list. And that's what brings me to my concern. Eldora transition work is listed under required work, meaning it is treated as settled, as background, as something we simply account for and move around. Um, when I look at the general fund stabilization, it is also listed as required work. And then I look at the ambitions in the board priorities, the sustainability work, the park and trail needs. And I have to ask, are you being honest with the public about what can actually be done? I would request that in the step two materials, staff breakout Eldora related costs and staff hours as a distinct line item, not buried in the required work. So the public can see the real trade-off picture before you set final goals. I also support moving the later work session timeline. The compressed schedule concerns me. Survey results on May 27th and the final draft on June 16th is very fast for a plan that is supposed to guide this town for 3 years. Getting it right matters more than getting it done quickly. So my feedback is this. I would ask staff and the board to go into step two with eyes open about the full cost of the existing commitments and make sure the strategic plan reflects what the board genuinely delivers and not just what the board hopes to. Thank you.
Thank you, Nellie. Sir, go ahead.
Do I have any questions?
No, you're good. Go ahead and state your name and your relationship with the town.
Good evening. My name is Maxfield Rashbaum. My relationship with the town is I've lived here my entire life on Lakeview Drive. I'm a business owner. My wife and I had a business in the Caribou Village that burned down on October 9th. We have been relocated to First Street. I'd like to say that this is in regards to the housing on Rodeo Court. That Aspen Grove, my entire life, has been an incredible wildlife habitat. Putting an apartment building there would continue the rent disparity, making it unaffordable for locals in Boulder County, specifically our town. Tungsten Village did not help in that regards. It's actually made the problem worse. I am aware that people are being charged $1,800 a month for a 400 square foot unit. And even though like with their government assistance, they're not paying that, but that is what those units are valued at. My wife and I have a 4-year-old son. We play in that field all the time, just like I did when I was a kid. It's in a direct line of view. We live on Lakeview Drive, and if there was an apartment building there, we would no longer have a lake view of our reservoir. I'm really hoping that we could not cancel this project. I'd like to find some housing, maybe in town property. I heard someone say that there's town property that needs to be worked on, mitigated, whatever needs to happen. I know that there's better locations available. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comments on our strategic plan? On the strategic plan? We're at the strategic plan. Yeah, public comment on strategic plan.
Karen Summers, have lived on Rodeo Court for 28 years. that meadow. First of all, I want to go back to the October 9th fire and what situation that put us in when we were required to evacuate. We got out onto the road and we couldn't go any farther. So we were all lined up in our vehicles on Lakeview Drive because it's one way in and one way out. So we have small children, we have children on oxygen, we have visually impaired children, hearing impaired children. It's just not the right location for affordable housing there. There's just the access just isn't there. We couldn't imagine 13 units. You know, that's one car per unit. If Boulder County has what the newspaper said, the possible 13 unit or tiny home, this came to our attention via the Mountaineer. We got this information that the town property on Rodeo Court and Lakeview Drive was going to possibly be given to Boulder County Housing Authority to put their affordable housing there. We're asking you, we're begging you, please find someplace else. So please do not put it there. So Boulder County Housing is wonderful. I've been a tenant for 37 years. Okay, I was a divorced single mother living in my car with a 3-year-old. They moved me into a site in Boulder. I lived there 9 years. I moved here, retired from Boulder Valley Schools and transportation. I've been here 28 years. That meadow is home to fox, bear, moose, elk. It just would be just unthinkable to build anything in that little meadow that will not support what they intend to do with that meadow. So please, I ask you, walk through there. You know, we have people that come to visit Netherland that use those trails to get on the south side of the lake. Wild Bear brings young children there to, you know, for their outdoor education studies. It holds a lot of value, more than you'll ever know, unless you've actually been there. So please give us some thought.
Thank you. Any other public comments on the strategic plan?
Just want to say one thing, Karen Summers, thanks. I know Karen Blakemore talked with you, encouraged you to come do this, so stay involved. Thank you for staying here and being here.
Go
My
ahead,
name is
Steve.
Bert Rashbaum. I've been a Netherland resident now for 40 years, 36 in a row, living on Lakeview Drive. Everything I was going to say, practically Karen just said. That little strip of land, just a number of years ago, at the end of that strip of land, somebody came to the Planning Commission and wanted to put up one tiny house. And we all spoke then, and it was voted down. And I said to my son, see, we have some power as citizens. We can get things done in the right way. And he looked at me like I was an idiot. And he said, this is not over. He said, you know, you're so naive. And a year or two later, it was back in front of the Planning Commission, the same exact tiny house. And this time, it was voted down again. And I said, see, we stood up, we spoke, and we still have our little strip of wilderness there at the end of the town. And he looked at me like I was an idiot. And he said, this isn't over. We have no power. And so now, there's a possibility, you're only examining it, that there might be 13 units there. And again, if you haven't been there, you don't know the value of that little strip of land. Again, all the wildlife, the kids that play there, it's very rare to have anywhere in this country where kids can go out and play. That is one of the spaces where it can happen and does happen. I have seen now 3 generations, I'm living there long enough, 3 generations of kids play in that little meadow and grow up in that little meadow. And then they're replaced by another family and it happens again. What will be lost forever. And so if it is only a possibility that it might happen, I would urge you to use your weight as the board to make sure it does not happen, so that the treasure that exists down that block remains. for future generations. Once it's gone, it will be gone forever. To also echo what Karen said about the fire, if that units had been there, it would have been much more of a disaster in the waiting. And there's also no room for parking. There's barely room for parking now for the people who live there. When the summer concert series happens in Chapeta Park, there's no parking down that street. People even park illegally. When one person has a birthday party who lives there and they bring guests, there's no parking on that street. And I can't imagine it becoming any worse. So in a way, I beg you to leave it the way it is. If you have not been down there, come on down. Meet the people who live there, see what is there, and you'll immediately understand this is such a precious gem in this town. It needs to remain. Thank you.
John, did you want to say something? Okay, yeah, go for it.
That's fire escape, right?
Go ahead and state your name so people can hear you online.
My name's John Stevens. That's fire escape, right?
It is an egress route,
That-
yes.
When they're talking about fire at Caribou Village, at Spark, that if we would have had a little bit of a wind, everybody on the south side of the lake would have been wiped out. Nobody could have got out because we got the notice an hour after the fire had been going. Now, like I said, if at 3 o'clock in the morning, when we got our notice, we would have never gotten out. That needs to be a priority. I mean, right at the top of the list, or you're going to have 100 dead people over there.
Agree. There's the,
And you just live right up the hill from me, so.
I sure do. I'm in Big Springs, and so you'll see on the list, emergency management and fire notification systems is on our list.
Yeah, that's got to be the top.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other folks in the room that want to make a public comment on the strategic plan?
Hi, my name's Donna Smith, and I pretty much said everything before. I have to say it was pretty scary when everybody was lined up, and if that fire had come any closer, I don't know what we would have done. Gone and dived in the lake or something. I mean, it was that scary. And we were very lucky that there was no wind that day. So, and that spot across the street is everything to all of us in that neighborhood. I mean, there's people walk through there all the time. And the wildlife, the moose, the crows, everything, it would just break my heart to have that taken away from us. And there's so many other places around town. I mean, it's probably going to be hard to find a place to put it. I agree, but just don't do it in our neighborhood because it's our neighborhood and we want it to be nice. And a lot of people use that. It's not just us. There's so many people that come into town that either walk along that road or and then walk over down into the reservoir. A lot of the town's money comes from people that come, and they come from all over the place. I ask people when I am walking down there, and I walk there one or two times a day. And I ask people, where are they from? And they come from all over the place. So they're bringing an income because if they came all the way from Boulder, they're probably going to sit down and have lunch somewhere, or they're going to have a pizza, whatever. They're going to stop and spend money, and that's where we get our income. And keeping the reservoir and all that, Chapeta Park, and the whole area available to people is one of our sources of income, because that attracts people. And if we just make it be ugly and yucky with a big old apartment building, I mean, 13 units, that's a pretty big unit. I'm sorry, even if it's 400 square feet per unit, which is appalling in of itself. But still, the parking, like Bert said, there's hardly any parking there. We're not allowed to park on the whole north side of Lakeview. That is supposedly no parking except for, when we have the summer program and stuff, but it's clogged up there already. So, I mean, I don't know what we can do, and but also having people come up when it's supposed to be for people that live around in this area for low-income housing, it's kind of, and those units are not cheap. I don't find that cheap, and it's hard to live in an apartment building. I've heard of people living over there. There's a lot of problems involved with that, and they need to fix those buildings. I mean, already there's problems. So
Thank you.
anyway, I'm repeating myself from before, but still it's important.
Thank you, Donna. All right, anyone else in the room?
D'Angela Owens. I live on Rodeo Court. I'm the first house past Chipeta. It's very stimulating having a park and all of these things ongoing around the area. I have PTSD, and having that meadow across the street, as I am echoing everybody else's sentiments, means a lot to me and to my daughter. We have a very close-knit community down there. I don't know if you guys have been down there. I don't know if you've seen the space that we're talking about, but if you throw up a 13 unit building, there are going to be problems with trash. There are going to be problems with increased carbon footprint and traffic that our roads cannot sustain. We already have these issues with the summer series, which I am all for. I love the summer series. I love that we have it. But again, parking, fire issues, the carbon footprint, the effect that it's having on the neighbors. And again, I don't own, I rent. I started out in Tungsten Village, which is falling apart, and was erected very rapidly and without much thought. A lot of issues when I lived there. I was very grateful to make the move over to Rodeo Court. I've been there for 3 years now, and what I would like to address that I don't think anybody mentioned, aside from losing the view, is the depreciation of the value of the homes that these people have worked or spent their lives or generations living in. Or you put up a 13 unit complex and it's going to exponentially decrease the value of these homes for these people. And I would just like to echo everything that everybody else has said. We're a strong community down there. We don't want to increase the carbon footprint. We have a beautiful, pristine reservoir. We have wonderful hiking trails. Access to get in and out in case of a fire would be really nice. But we stick together and we love our little community. Please at least take a walk down there and see how special it is, like these guys have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments in the room? All right, going online, is there anyone that has a public comment? Macy, I can't tell if somebody's hand is up.
Yes,
Bonnie Sundance.
yes.
Hi, Bonnie. Would you like to go ahead and state your name again and
Yes.
your relationship to town?
Bonnie Sundance, Nederland resident for 8 years at 350 Lakeview Drive. My request is please consider reorienting the feasibility study. First, thank you. I thank the town for your work with other agencies to create affordable housing. However, open your hearts to hear the impacts on us of more affordable housing on Rodeo Court. I see 3 issues. 1, our neighborhood is now in balance with people living in harmony with one another and nature. The proposal would squish us and create overcrowding. People tend to isolate and tensions rise when there are too many people in a small area. Secondly, removing the function and support of the aspen grove and meadow is problematic. For one, aspens help slow the spread of wildfires and they hold moisture. They are green gold to us. Third, nature separation is a major societal problem. And there is now a growing consciousness of the importance of our making daily close connections with nature. So that before you even begin this feasibility study, please come into our neighborhood and ask people about the project and its potential impact. And you might then decide that to not do the feasibility study in this area at all. In my case, my well-being, my daily life flow are interwoven in kinship connection with the neighborhood trees. They are part of our circle of support and friendship as much as humans are. If this project were approved, I could not bear to watch this area desecrated. I myself need affordable housing, but I don't want to live where trees get taken out. So instead of using land the town owns, or in this case, that the Boulder Housing Authority wants to take, write grants to purchase a parcel better suited to affordable housing, like the ones that are next to the post office. Instead, use the grant money for a down payment on that land instead of doing a feasibility study of rodeo. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Bonnie. Is there anyone else online? Melody? Yep, Melody,
Yes,
go ahead and
can you
come
hear
off.
me?
Yep, we can hear you. Go for it.
Melody Baumhover, Netherland resident. I'm also the co-chair of the Netherland Sustainability Advisory Board. I first want to welcome Topher and Billy back to the board. I'm glad to have you guys back on. I wanted to point to our draft document that we provided. We did put a lot of work trying to connect it to, those different comp plan objectives and things that have been worked on through the past. When we talk about sustainability, it's often much longer term than 2 or 3 years that any, public official serves, whether appointed or elected. And so we do try to, put a lot of history into that and make sure that when we are thinking about projects that are going to last 7 years plus, that we really set up the future board members to be able to continue on that work. I would say, as an advisory board, we've always tried to focus on work that is aligned with what the town is currently working on. And I think what I see in some of the public comment here tonight is that focus on sustainability is really important to residents, both in having open space, having thoughtful development, and not just trying to rush development through because we need it or because we agreed to it. We do have the sustainability scorecard process that can help kind of really think out some of these big projects like that and what those longer term impacts are going to be economically, socially, as well as environmentally. The other thing that I wanted to point to is just that there is a lot of work there to be done on those goals that we provided. I'm happy to meet with anybody, talk with anybody about kind of our plans for achieving those things, why we made the decisions we made, what we've talked about, where we're coming from, basically. And that we really do try to look for funding and free resources wherever we can to accomplish anything that we want to accomplish. And I really appreciate the work that our sustainability coordinator did on the recent CEO grant. I think it's put in there, but we're qualified for that because we are more aggressive in some of our energy and environmental policies. So I did just want to point that out. And like I said, I'm happy to chat more with anybody if you have further questions. So thank you all.
Thanks, Melody. Anyone else online with a public comment?
Yeah, Mayor, this is Erica Thorley.
Hi, Erica. Go for it. 3 minutes.
Hi. So good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. My name is Erica Thorley. I am also on the Sustainability Advisory Board with Melody, and grateful to have the opportunity to talk with you all just briefly tonight and look forward to future conversations. I just have three things I wanted to highlight. So again, Billy, welcome back. Topher, welcome back. I know this won't be new to some of you. But I just wanted to highlight, I heard kind of mention of this kind of top down of priorities. And as Melody mentioned, that is something the Sustainability Advisory Board and all the boards in Netherlands really try to work on, is things that come from the Board of Trustees as priorities. I think it's also important to mention, for example, when we came to you, Chris Larson, when you were mayor, with a 100% renewable energy goal, and we brought that to the board. It was not something that the board had on its radar at the time. And the board then approved that resolution and that commitment many years ago now. I think it's also important to mention staff. Staff was a priority for the Netherlands Sustainability Advisory Board for over the last 10 years, and something that board has really worked on and chipped away at over those years. And now we have an almost full-time sustainability coordinator. I myself was in that position a few years ago, and so wrote the grant for the first 3 years that it was funded by Boulder County. It's something that we all very deeply care about and feel is really important to the mission of the town. Also think the farmers market, it's another important thing to plug that came from the Sustainability Advisory Board. It was a dream and a goal that came from that board and really has evolved into what it is today, and is a huge highlight of, again, that kind of bottom up ideas and really being able to have those in-depth kind of creative conversations of where do we want to go, what's new on the horizon. I also just wanted to plug staff. That is the first goal that the Sustainability Advisory Board has, because we really want to see staff become this kind of more permanent fixture within the town. This will be the first year in 2027 where we won't have Boulder County matching funds, and I think that's going to be really important to recognize. If you all want to talk about how that's impacted other neighbors like the town of Lyons and how they actually have lost positions in a similar dynamic, we're happy to chat with you about that and how we can be strategic and really increasing that resilience from a staff perspective. And I just wanted to make a plug, and I know Melody's already mentioned this. Sustainability is very much that long-term view, and resilience is very much the immediate. And so resilience is such a huge focus of our Sustainability Advisory Board and has been for a very long time. But it's that immediate response where sustainability is that much longer-term vision. And I just wanted to highlight to you all that that's something that we are always, always focused on and have been for a very long time. Thank you again for this opportunity. I would just suggest that we have more opportunities to connect and to share ideas and to really share with you all what we're working on and get from you what your priorities are. What are your questions? The Sustainability Advisory Board is full of incredible experts. I learn things all the time from some of the energy experts on that board. It's a really dynamic group of people,
Erica,
and
you're at
thank
3
you
minutes.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments, public comments online? Macy, is there anyone else? Okay, looks like we got through everyone. We're going to see if we can do this. There's some questions before us, and if there's anybody that has a discussion item or whatnot, we'll see where this gets us and how I need to extend the meeting. But my first question to you, we just need nods, is are we okay with this survey going out to us, the board, advisory board, staff, and the public before the next work session? Okay, I see head nods.
Yes, with dark sky.
Yeah, with dark sky under planning commission. The next one is, are we okay to skip the May 26th work session date and move it to a later date, potentially, which is going to be January or June 9th, in order to review. So we'll have a first viewing of the June 2nd, then we'll have a work session on June 9th. How are we doing on nods with that? Nod.
We did have one comment that just said, are we rushing this? And so I just wonder if people do need more time with the survey.
I think at the June 9th work session, let's have another discussion about it and see if we need more time.
And
John, you brought up the point of this helping us guide budget decisions. Do we have a starting not a starting date, but a starting window for budget season?
It already started.
We're
We're already working on
always
it.
in budget
Your
season.
work, we
Right.
need to bring that as a discussion item. Typically, we start in August.
Okay.
But we're gonna need to be working, I would imagine, no later than July on some of these
Yeah.
things.
So
Also, that supplemental budget we need to do that you guys give me
Right.
emergency spending authorization for 120 days, and that supplemental process will need to happen
Yeah.
pretty quickly. So
yeah, I'm just so we have a little wiggle room if we did want another
I think
Oh, yeah.
like a 2 week bump, but not
Oh,
not,
yeah,
not
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
as this
we have
gets
time.
like narrowed down, we'll know kind of. And some of the
Yeah.
things, one of the truths about your budget that I think is really important for the strategic plan, you don't have money right now. I think we have optimism. We have optimistic money that things can happen. And I think that doesn't mean we have no options, but that's going to be one of the constraints we have on some of these projects is we're going to be really looking at outside funding sources and strategic planning for how we get them. So I think it's going to be okay for what you're kind of pointing towards, that we can get some of these priorities kind of worked through. And it's like the pros too. The pros is still working, but we generally know
Yeah.
what the priorities will be.
I need to make a motion. Can we extend the meeting by 5 minutes, please, to 10:35?
Second.
That was actually the
Throw my voice.
Mayor Sterling?
Yes,
Trustee Larson?
fair.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Jocelyn?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Giblin?
Yes.
And Trustee Donahue?
No.
Thank
Also
you.
fair.
The motion is approved.
Okay, so we are good. We're going to send this out to the boards, to the staff, and to our board, to the advisory board. We are going to do a first viewing on June 2nd. We'll have a work session on June 9th. And we will then reassess basically the timeline and see if, how much more time that we need. And do you have all the direction that you need, Town Manager Kane?
Can I
Yes.
can I suggest something on that plan?
Sure, go for it.
Based on what we heard about the Rodeo Drive, and also just a little bit of how things work, would it be possible to have that run through the Sustainability Advisory Board? It seems like a worthy project to have them input on, unless they have already and I wasn't aware of it.
I believe this was board direction that we had given at the last go round to just assess the feasibility of the site.
It's not our project. It's a BCHA project. And so I think what we could do is, nothing has happened yet, but we can definitely look into that and bring something back. I don't think that there's any problem with additional engagement.
Okay. But we should, it seems like a good thing to include on that list of things that the Sustainability Advisory Board might be looking at.
And just for clarity, the parcel that we're talking about is the town-owned one, not the parcel that's currently owned by.
Right.
Boulder
Understand.
They're
Housing Partners.
they're
It's
both included in the study, but the town-owned parcel is the one that you would make decisions about. BCHA may decide to do what they decide to do with their property.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's their property.
Right. But that would still go through.
Yeah,
planning-
there
planning
is
commission
no
and
decisions. The
other stuff.
only decision that you've made, and the
Right.
direction was
The
to
town-
sign the
town
IGA to do the
parcel.
assessment, but to make it abundantly clear that there's no commitment of the town to do anything other than receive the assessment, essentially.
Right. But the
Okay.
assessment is on the town parcel, not on the.
It's both, because
It's
they
both,
need to look
okay,
at all the
okay.
infrastructure and everything.
Thank you. I was just trying to
Okay.
refresh my memory.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
All right,
Mayor Sterling, I'm sorry, can I have 10 seconds?
sure.
Just for clarification, the public survey ends on 27th. Is that what we're?
I was aiming for that day because that's a packet deadline. It's actually kind of a bad day. I'd rather have it on the Tuesday, but the Wednesday, I can hopefully buy Macy a coffee and it'll work out.
Bribery,
Is there any reason why we couldn't extend that up until,
the June 2nd.
or even the 9th? I mean, we could see where we're at on the 2nd, but leave it open.
I could
as
just do like a
weekend.
status update maybe and kind of give you the results so far.
Yeah, and just leave it open.
Like
Yeah,
that.
at the end of that.
I would say, yeah, that's probably direction. Do we want to set an initial date of June 2nd? Because I mean, if we leave, you're saying leave it perpetually open?
Until like the day before we have our work session.
Okay, so, okay,
Mm, but-
we'd have to have it by June 2nd so we could get it into the packet.
I'm pretty tight on analysis time, so maybe the other option would be is, yeah, that, we could figure it out, but the Wednesday before that, I really need it done by the
Okay.
Wednesday before, and that means I've only got 2 days to do
Yeah,
analysis, so.
as long as we can do it so that it's not too much of a headache
Yeah.
for staff.
Okay. June
What if
2nd.
can I get it as close as possible to the 9th and then we'll just,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
Very good. All right, public comment on non-agenda items. Macy, do we have anyone online? Bonnie, are you raising your hand for this public comment on non-agenda items, or is it just still raised from last time? Okay, thanks, Bonnie. All right, anyone in line in person? I can't speak anymore. Other business?
5 seconds.
Go.
Can we look at liaisons again, please?
Next, it's going to be at the next meeting. It's
Perfect.
already on the agenda.
You're the best. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. You missed your second.
The time is 10:35 p.m. Woo!
Mayor Sterling,
Yes.
Trustee Donahue,
Yes.
Trustee Giblin,
Yes.
Trustee Jocelyn,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller,
No, I mean, yes.
Trustee Kennedy,
You are tired.
Trustee Kennedy,
Yes.
and Trustee Larson. Thank you. The
Thanks,
meeting is
thanks for
adjourned
sticking
at
with us,
10:36.
Topher. Sorry
you.
about that one.
No worries. Good night.
Thank you, Topher.
Guys, look forward to joining.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Jennifer.